What if I told you that the strength in your legs, yes, that power you rely on to get up from a chair, to walk, to climb stairs, even to keep your balance, could be fading not just because of age, but because your body is quietly running low on a few critical minerals? Not one, not two, but 8 specific minerals that almost no one over 65 is getting enough of. What are they? Why does a lack of them drain your strength? And most importantly, how can you get them back before it's too late? Subscribe now so you don't miss anything, because what you're about to discover could drastically change how you move, feel, and live. Let's get straight to it. If you've started to notice that your legs feel heavier than they used to, that it's taking more effort just to go up the stairs, or that you're a bit less steady on your feet, it's easy to brush it off as just getting older. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if the muscle loss and fatigue were actually symptoms of something missing inside your body? Something that no amount of walking or stretching can fix. You see, our muscles, especially the ones in our legs, are not just powered by protein and movement. They rely on a very precise balance of minerals that work like electrical conductors inside your cells. Without them, muscle fibers can't contract properly. They can't fire with full strength. And your nervous system? It can't communicate as clearly with your muscles. It's a bit like trying to talk through a phone with a dying battery. Every word gets weaker. Now here's where it gets even more surprising. The first of these 8 minerals often starts disappearing from your system decades before symptoms show up. But once you hit 65, the consequences become impossible to ignore. Your body becomes less efficient at absorbing nutrients, even if you're eating the same foods you always did. And guess which minerals are the first to get squeezed out? The ones most essential for keeping your legs strong, steady, and pain-free. Let's pause and think about something. Have you noticed cramps that weren't there before? Or muscle twitching in your calves when you're resting? Maybe your legs fall asleep more easily, or you get that buzzing, tingling feeling for no obvious reason. These aren't just random aging quirks. These are classic signs that your muscles are losing the minerals they need to function. So why isn't this common knowledge? Because the conversation around aging legs has mostly been dominated by discussions about exercise, protein, and sometimes calcium or vitamin D. But those are just pieces of the puzzle. Without these 8 minerals, even a perfect diet and daily walks can fall flat. Let's look deeper. One of the most misunderstood reasons people over 65 start losing leg strength is tied to something most of us aren't even aware of: intracellular mineral depletion. That's a fancy way of saying that your cells, the tiny engines of your body, are running dry on the very stuff that powers them. It's not about how much mineral is in your food, it's about how much actually makes it into your muscle cells and stays there. Now picture this. Your muscles are like rechargeable batteries. They need constant refueling with things like magnesium, potassium, and calcium, not just for strength, but for coordination, balance, and even to prevent dangerous falls. And when these batteries drain, not only do you lose strength, you lose speed, reflexes, and confidence in your own legs. And here's something no one tells you. Just because your blood levels of these minerals are normal doesn't mean your muscles have enough. In fact, blood tests are often misleading because your body will keep your blood levels stable by pulling minerals from your bones, your muscles, and your cells. So you could be clinically fine on paper, while your legs are quietly breaking down from the inside out. Let's talk about the first mineral, magnesium. It's often called the master mineral for a reason. It activates over 300 different enzymes in the body, many of which are directly tied to muscle function, nerve conduction, and energy metabolism. Without enough magnesium, your muscles are constantly on edge, literally. They're more likely to cramp, spasm, or twitch. Your recovery time after exertion increases. You feel fatigued faster, and your risk of falling, especially at night, skyrockets. Now here's the kicker. By age 65, more than 70% of adults are magnesium deficient, even if they eat a balanced diet. Why? Because modern soils are depleted, processed foods strip away magnesium, and aging digestive systems absorb less. Plus, medications like diuretics, antacids, and even blood pressure drugs Flush magnesium out of your system even faster. Can you already see how this is starting to add up? But magnesium isn't the only player here. Potassium is just as vital, and it works hand in hand with magnesium to keep your muscles responsive and your nerves firing. Think of potassium as the signal transmitter. Without it, the electrical messages between your brain and your legs become muffled. Your stride shortens. You start shuffling. Your balance wavers. In fact, low potassium is one of the leading causes of muscle weakness in older adults, and most never know they're deficient. Now take a second and think about how that's affecting your daily life. When was the last time you got up from a chair and felt fully stable? When did walking around the block stop feeling effortless? When did your legs go from feeling dependable to unpredictable? And it doesn't stop there. Calcium is usually mentioned in relation to bones, but it plays a massive role in muscle contraction. Without calcium, your muscles simply can't flex properly. It's the mineral that allows your muscle fibers to tighten and release. If magnesium is the conductor and potassium is the signal, then calcium is the switch. If that switch is glitchy, your legs get weaker, even if your bones are still strong. But here's where it gets even more compelling. Calcium, magnesium, and potassium all compete for absorption. If your body is out of balance, if you're getting too much calcium from supplements or fortified foods, and not enough magnesium or potassium, it can throw the entire system off. Your muscles might tighten instead of relax. You might feel stiff rather than strong. So what's missing here? Something most people have never even heard of: selenium. This trace mineral is critical for reducing oxidative stress in your muscles. As we age, our muscles become more vulnerable to tiny tears and inflammation. Selenium acts like a shield, protecting your tissues from wear and tear that can slow you down. And get this, low selenium levels have been linked in multiple studies to reduced muscle strength in older adults. Not fatigue, not frailty, measurable clinical weakness. That's huge. And it's not just selenium. Another under-the-radar mineral is zinc. Without enough zinc, your body struggles to repair and rebuild muscle fibers after even light exertion. That means the little stresses you put on your legs each day, walking, standing, climbing stairs, slowly accumulate without recovery. Over time, that adds up to real, lasting muscle loss. At this point, you might be wondering, what about iron? Isn't that important too? Absolutely. Iron is essential for oxygen delivery to your muscles. When your iron levels drop, even slightly, your cells start running low on oxygen. You feel more tired, more breathless, and your legs feel like they're dragging anchors behind them. And for many adults over 65, especially women, low iron is a silent thief of energy and strength. Let's pause here and ask a simple question. Have you ever had a day where you slept fine, ate well, and still felt like your legs just couldn't keep up? That might not be about age. That might be your body begging for more oxygen, more minerals, and more support. There's another mineral that rarely makes headlines but plays a starring role in all of this: chromium. It helps regulate blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. And guess what? Stable blood sugar is directly linked to muscle function. When your blood sugar spikes and crashes, your energy plummets. But more importantly, your muscle performance drops. And over time, this metabolic roller coaster actually accelerates muscle wasting. So if you're watching this and you've already felt that subtle decline, maybe your gait is changing or your knees feel less stable or your walks are getting shorter, don't accept it as inevitable. Don't chalk it up to just getting older. Because here's the truth, your body is likely missing one or more of these minerals. And with the right strategy, you can absolutely turn this around. Let's say you start by checking your magnesium intake, then you boost potassium from whole foods like avocados and leafy greens. You make sure you're not overloading on calcium supplements. You get your iron, zinc, selenium, and chromium levels checked. Suddenly your legs start feeling more reliable. You recover faster. You stand taller. You walk longer without needing a break. You even feel steadier when you close your eyes or turn quickly. These are not fantasy results. They're the very real effects of giving your body what it has been quietly missing. If you're over 50 and your joints ache when you get out of bed, go upstairs or just try to enjoy a walk. It's not your age. And it's not your fault. The real issue? Your body's running out of a natural substance that cushions your joints like a shock absorber. And most supplements out there, glucosamine, collagen, all of it, don't fix this. But now, researchers have discovered a breakthrough that can actually restore what your joints are missing. And people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s are seeing real relief. If you're feeling stiff, sore, or weaker lately, stop guessing. Check the link in the pinned comment now. And here's where things start to get really interesting. Because once you understand how these 8 minerals affect your strength and stability, you begin to realize that every ache, every stumble, every frustrating, "why can't I do what I used to," might not be about aging. It might be about a silent deficiency, a fixable one. But to fix it, we have to go deeper. Let's circle back to zinc for a moment. Did you know that zinc also plays a role in your immune system, your wound healing, even your sense of taste? But what's often overlooked is that zinc is a cofactor in protein synthesis, meaning it helps your body build new muscle. That's especially important if you've been losing muscle mass over the years, a process known as sarcopenia. Zinc can help you slow, or in many cases reverse that process, if your body has enough of it. But here's the catch. Your body doesn't store zinc for long. It must be replenished daily. And with age, your ability to absorb zinc declines. That means even if you're eating zinc-rich foods like beef, pumpkin seeds, or chickpeas, your cells might still be starving for it. That's why zinc deficiency is so common in seniors, and why it so often flies under the radar. Now, let's return to chromium. Most people only associate it with blood sugar, but chromium does something even more crucial. It helps insulin do its job properly. And insulin, aside from regulating glucose, also helps shuttle amino acids into muscle cells to build tissue. When you're low in chromium, your insulin response weakens. Blood sugar stays high longer, and your muscles don't get the nourishment they need to grow or stay strong. You lose muscle, you gain fat, and the cycle repeats. You might be wondering, what? About diet? Shouldn't eating healthy cover all of this? In theory, yes. But in practice, today's food doesn't deliver what it used to. Farming methods have changed. Soil is less mineral-rich than it was 50 years ago. That spinach or broccoli on your plate today may have half the nutrients it once did, and if your digestion is compromised, which happens with age, you're absorbing even less. Let's get practical. Think about your breakfast. Maybe you're having toast, coffee, maybe some fruit. But none of that gives you significant magnesium, or zinc, or chromium. What about lunch? Maybe a sandwich, maybe soup. Still no potassium to speak of. And if you've cut back on red meat or organ meats because of cholesterol fears, your iron and selenium are probably running low too. So what's the result? You go through the day, slowly draining your reserves, not realizing you're running on empty. Your body adapts by conserving energy, slowing you down, making you feel sluggish, even making everyday movements feel like hard work. You might notice your legs trembling after a short walk, or needing to grab onto something just to get up. That's not weakness from aging. That's weakness from deficiency. Now let's bring in one more player, phosphorus. It doesn't get talked about much, but it's essential for cellular energy. Every single muscle contraction you make burns a compound called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP can't exist without phosphorus. No phosphorus, no energy. No energy, no strength. Phosphorus is found in many foods, especially meats and dairy. But once again, if you've reduced those in your diet due to advice from decades past, you could be low. Plus, certain medications, like antacids or diuretics, can cause phosphorus to be excreted too rapidly. Imagine this. You're doing all the right things. You exercise, you stretch, you eat clean. But your muscles still feel like they're stuck in slow motion. Your reflexes feel delayed. That spring in your step is gone. That's your body waving a red flag saying, "Help, I'm missing the raw materials I need to fire up your energy." And if we put all of this together, we start to see the full picture. Your legs are not just bones and muscle. They're the outcome of hundreds of internal processes that require a constant stream of minerals. Not just any minerals, but 8 very specific ones that work in tandem like instruments in an orchestra. One out of tune, and everything feels off, but get them back in harmony, and something amazing happens. Your balance improves. Your stamina grows. You walk farther without effort. You climb stairs without dread. You sleep better. Your confidence returns. And maybe best of all, you start to feel like you again. This isn't theory. It's backed by science. Multiple studies show that restoring magnesium levels alone can improve muscle performance in older adults. Others link potassium and calcium to better reaction times and reduced fall risk. Zinc and selenium support recovery, regeneration, and immune function. Iron improves oxygen delivery and endurance. Chromium supports stable energy and muscle maintenance. Phosphorus literally fuels your every move. But here's the thing. No single mineral is a magic bullet. It's the combination that matters. And it's the consistency that makes the difference. One healthy meal won't fix it. One supplement won't restore years of depletion. But start feeding your body what it's truly missing daily, and the transformation begins. You might be asking right now, how do I start? Start simple. Get your levels tested. Talk to a trusted doctor about checking intracellular levels, not just blood serum. Focus on whole foods that are naturally rich in these minerals. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, lean meats, beans, legumes, avocados, bananas, eggs. And yes, in some cases, high-quality supplements can help, especially for magnesium, zinc, and selenium, since they're hard to get enough of through food alone, especially with modern agriculture. And stay consistent, just like exercise builds strength slowly over time, so does nutrition, but the results are often faster than you'd expect. Some people report better sleep, stronger steps, and fewer leg cramps in just a few weeks. And as you keep going, your quality of life increases. You become more active, more independent, more vibrant. You stop avoiding walks. You stop dreading the stairs. You stop wondering, what's wrong with me? And start celebrating everything that's right again. Let's pause here. Right now, take a second and think, really think, about your legs, about how often they carry you, how many steps they've taken for you over the years, how much they've supported you in life. Don't they deserve to be supported in return? The truth is, it's never too late to regain strength. Never too late to feel solid, stable, and strong again. But you have to take action, because time will keep ticking, and those deficiencies won't fix themselves. But the good news? The solution is within your reach, and it starts today. You now know more than most people ever will about what's really draining their strength. You've got the insight. You've got the motivation. All that's left is to take that first small step. And if you want to keep learning simple, science-backed ways to transform your health, tap the video on screen right now. It's the perfect next step on your journey. Go ahead. Your body will thank you.